Hi, I'm Grant, and I'm sharing from Jesus' first word on the cross. Father, forgive them, they don't know what they're doing. An amazing prayer because of the amazing circumstances. Dying in agony slowly on the cross in front of his accusers, his betrayers, and his torturers. Who was he praying for? Was it the rulers that he came across of the day, like Pilate and Caiaphas, the false accusers, the Jewish leaders? How about Peter, his main man, who'd recently denied him 3 times? Or the rest of the deserting disciples, having spent 3 years investing in them relationally, they were nowhere to be seen. And of course the soldiers, who had mocked, scoured, tortured, and nailed him to the cross, who, as he was praying this, were busy gambling for his clothes. They didn't know, all of them, that he was the Messiah. They didn't know the prophecies concerning them, or actually the sin they were committing by causing his death right there and then. Talk about compassion on the ignorant. If they would have really known who he was and what they were doing, maybe they wouldn't have done it, but it was all part of the plan. I grew up to learn that ignorance is no excuse. Well, maybe that's the case, but for Jesus here, it was a reason for him to pray and ask for them to be forgiven. You might be thinking, why are we here at Bath Cricket Club? Well, I've had many good times here, lots of memories as player and coach at this amazing place in our city, but also one not quite so good memory. We had our local rivals, Lansdowne, who played in the league against us. But every year there was a friendly which was far from a friendly called the hatchet match. There was even a trophy with a hatchet buried in it. And this was played every year. And on this one occasion, as the light was growing dim, being a fastish bowler, I bowled a ball at one of their opposition. It struck him on the head and he had no helmet on. I instantly ran down to check he was okay, but my aggressive captain accosted me and said, "Get back to your bowling mark and do the same again." It's quite a difficult moment. I did. That next ball didn't hit him, but we got him out. It was still directed at his head. It was quite an aggressive piece of play. Met with jeers and boos from the fans of the opposition, resulting in, when I came off the pitch, the brother of one of their players pinning me up against the pavilion door and giving me a piece of his mind, resulting there in us going up in front of the committee, having to apologise for our actions, for bringing the game into disrepute with our anger. That game triggered some bad blood between the teams. Other events coupled with that meant that that friendly match didn't then get played for another 18 years. Boom. Can you imagine how I felt? I thought we were unjustly treated. Others thought that we were out of order. Forgiveness was needed from my part to say sorry, but also from others who I'd mistreated. You know that guy I hit on the head? He's now a really good friend, and I even helped coach that club as an act forward. Jesus taught and modelled forgiveness wherever he went, didn't he? From the Lord's Prayer in Matthew 6 to answering Peter's question on how many times must we forgive? 70 times 7 in Matthew 18. The perfume poured at his feet from the sinful woman in Luke 7, through to the woman caught in the act of adultery whilst being stoned in John 8. And of course, as we take the wine in the Lord's Supper, one of the final things he said to his disciples, "Drink this for the forgiveness of sins for many." So what about us? What does forgiveness look like for us? Well, if you think about the great command from Jesus to love the Lord your God with all of your heart, with all of your soul, with all of your mind, isn't it the same batting order, forgive the pun, with forgiveness? Well, maybe The first person to forgive is ourselves. If, like me, you've done and said so many things in the past that have hurt others or counted against you, maybe you need to forgive you. If God's willing to forgive you for it, shouldn't you forgive you for it? How about God himself? All of those good things that never happened yet, all those bad things that did happen, are you blaming God for that? Your earthly father may have let you down, but are you blaming your heavenly Father for that? He may have permitted it, but did he really do it? In finding God, do you need to let God go in that way? And what about others? The things they've said and done against you, like barnacles on a ship. Have you let it attach to you to weigh you down? Is it time to remove those thoughts and feelings? You know, in 2008 and 9, in our sports ministry work, we were planting teams in different communities around the country, and one of them was in the south of England. And I'd spent a lot of time and some money investing in this leader. It was going well. And on one time, I'd gone down to visit him again in his area, spent a good day with him, relationally catching up, talking to him about his leadership and how we could serve and support. And then that evening, we met with the team to engage with them, and I was prepared to do a mini training with them. And then to my horror and shock, he announced to me, in front of all of them because they were in on it, that he was dropping us as a ministry like a stone, didn't want our help, felt let down, and was jumping to another ministry that was operating in another city who'd kind of headhunted them. It was wrong, and it was done wrongly, and it really hurt. I couldn't believe that he and this other ministry had done that and done it in that way. And it hurt so much. I thought I was good with this forgiveness thing. I couldn't shake it off. I wanted him to fail. I wanted their ministry to fail, if I'm being really honest. And because, as it says in Matthew 18 and in Mark 11 from 22 to 26, unforgiveness can be a block to God's spiritual power. And in our ministry, I now know, because I couldn't let him go, our ministry didn't grow. We wanted to serve other areas. Funnily enough, those doors did not open until I closed this door. And then after a moment with Jesus, where I chose to forgive this guy and all of those and that other ministry, because forgiving is forgetting. And he helped me by his Spirit to do it. And then amazing doors opened, and we've been able to serve elsewhere because we closed that door of unforgiveness. It's been said that to forgive is to set a prisoner free, and then to realize that that prisoner is yourself. You know, as I finish, on a sports camp one time we had a forgiveness message for the kids, and there were parents late picking up 2 children, and the 2 children had been really let down by their mother to the extent that they couldn't forgive her. We talked Jesus and forgiveness, and the brother said, yes, I'll forgive my mum. And he came to Jesus. His sister was not so keen. And so as we were sat there waiting for mum to pick him up, I said, how about a race between you two? She said, yeah, I love a race. So I lined them up and I said, you've got to go to the hedge and back. And I said, oh, but hang on, Daisy. And I put my big bag of sports equipment on her back. It was almost too much to withstand. And I said, on your mark, set, get set, go. And she looked at me as if to say, but that's not fair. And of course her brother won easily, and she said, but that's not fair. And I said, you're living your life with this bag on your back because you're not letting your mum go until you forgive her. So if you want to win in life, you need to take the bag off, Daisy. She got it, and she gave it in forgiveness to her mum. And that's the same with us. So today, who do we need to forgive? Is it ourselves? Is it God? Is it others? Or do we need to receive the forgiveness of God? When Jesus opened his hands, he was opening the gates of heaven for you and I to walk in. Isn't it ironic that this prayer, the first words of Jesus on the cross, was, Father, forgive them, they don't know what they're doing. How ironic is it that he was praying for our forgiveness whilst acting to achieve it? Happy Easter, everyone.